Going live again, back pre-Christmas Eve. Welcome everyone to another episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays. I'm your host Bobby from HollywoodMatrimony.com. And as you know, with this show, we take a deep dive into one of my movies up here, the martial arts films. Then we talk about each of the films, talk about the film itself, maybe some history with it, but also how it may have impacted my own personal martial arts journey or just my personal love for it and why. Today's a special one. I've been excited to do this one. I wanted to do it early in the season when I first started this show. I think we're on like episode 21 or 22 or something like that. I wanted to do this right away because I love this series so much. But with the new film coming out, I decided to wait. The time is finally here. So we're going to talk today about the Ip Man franchise. Now, there's a lot of Ip Man movies. There was The Grandmaster. There was Ip Man Legacy, I think it was called. But there's one definitive series of Ip Man films, in my opinion, and that's the one starring Donnie Yen. There have been 3 initially. We didn't think we were going to get any more. If I remember correctly, when they first came out, I don't even know if we were supposed to get the 3rd. I think it was talked about not getting in more. And then when they made some of the others, from my understanding, was Donnie Yen decided he didn't want to do anymore. Now other people were doing Ip Mans that kind of had taken over the thing. But thankfully, he came back. He's got one final one coming out on Christmas Day. And I've seen it, so I'm going to talk about it. And it fully completes the series. It makes a perfect beginning and end of franchise, and that I think will please most fans, but we'll talk about it. But in the midst of all this, there was also a spin-off movie, so we're going to talk about that one as well. And I think we already did it on the show as a film by itself, but we're going to talk about it a little bit as part of the franchise, because today's all about the franchise. So first up, you have the straightforward, and I should have pulled it up before I got started. I wasn't ready yet. I got excited to talk about this, so I dived right in before I was fully ready for everything. But the first one we have is just Ip Man, straight up Ip Man. The original film came out in, oh Lord, I had it and then it just dropped. Where is it? Oh, 2008. 2008. It was also called Yip Man. So there's Ip Man and there's Yip Man, YIP. I believe it depends on where it was released. Let me look. Oh, we got those 2. Hold on. Let me look at my trilogy box set here. Yeah, the original one they just here. This is a cool little box set. Oh, I guess I could look right here. It says right here instead of looking at it. I'm so dumb. If you look at it right here, I've got this cool box set. Wellgo USA, who is the premier distributor of Asian cinemas, not just martial arts flicks. They put out like horror flicks and dramas and comedies. Not all of it's Asian stuff, but to me, they're the premier, and I'm lucky they're local, that I discovered them a few years back. But they have a couple of cool things out. They have the movies out individually, but they have this cool trilogy box set that includes all the original films. Obviously, we put out the trilogy box set because we didn't think we were going to get the 4th film. So this isn't a cash grab situation of let's put these out and let's do this. 4 was not going to happen, and thankfully it did. So who knows if we're going to get a new box set down the road. I hope we do, because I would love to have a new box set with all of them contained in there. That's just me, but I love all things martial arts, Donnie Yen, and all things Wellgo at this point too, because they put out a lot of really great stuff. Anyway, 2008, we had Ip Man. It was one of those that I followed Donnie Yen already and liked. I know you can't see this, but I'm just going to set it here anyway. No, I'm going to lay it down. I loved all things Donnie Yen. But it was one of those movies that when it came out, I'm like, oh, yay, another Donnie Yen movie, right? Wasn't expecting what I got. To me, that first movie is probably one of, if not the best martial arts film of all time. For different reasons, because I have stuff like I'm a huge Van Damme fan, I'm a huge Scott Adkins fan, and I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan, and Steven Seagal. I like all of them, right? Some of them I'm a bigger fan than others. I recognize in not every single person's all their movies are great, but I still love them for different reasons. But this one, I don't know, it had that old school feel of like the Shaw Brothers, old school kung fu stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid on Kung Fu Theater. My favorite of all time being Five Element Ninjas, or aka Chinese Super Ninjas, depending on where you see the release. That's my favorite one of all time. But it had that vibe, but then also to be attached to a real life person, Ip Man, who, if you don't know who that is, he's most well known to the masses as the master instructor of Bruce Lee. Hopefully, you've heard of him. But he did so much more for Wing Chun and martial arts and stuff like this, that this movie, while Hollywoodized, it has, elements that I'm sure aren't completely factual to what happened, but they take the real life elements of his life and include them in there to the movie while still getting suspense. We get a lot more action, a lot more fighting, I'm sure, than might have happened in real life. But it's also heartfelt. It's about his life and his story. It's not just the fights. The fights are insanely amazing. Thanks to Donnie Yen. I believe Yu Wen Ping works on these too. Did he work on all of them, or just the originals? Or let's look. Hold on. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's amazing anyway. I think Ip Man 3 is when he came in. But anyway, but the fighting is amazing. So then, of course, you get one. It's kind of, it ends and it feels finished. Like they could have never made another one, and the first one would have been just fine. Thankfully, they made a second one, and it was aptly titled Ip Man 2 in 2010. So it wasn't that big of a jump before we had to wait for the next one. It just stepped its game up. It didn't surpass the first movie because I think the first movie set a tone that we weren't expecting. The second one basically leveled it out and did the same thing. So it had a whole new story. It brought new elements to it, including the always amazing Sammo Hung brought in there. So getting to see Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung on screen together, fighting each other, it was like a gift, like a Christmas gift early. And here's my thing is I love watching Donnie Yen or all these guys fight people. But when you bring in another martial artist, action superstar that's well known, or a fighter, it adds an element that makes it so much more exciting for people like myself, who's obsessed with martial arts in life and in film. And so when I see these people come together, it's like, I don't care what else happens in that movie, I want to see it. And so knowing that I was going to get to see Sammo and Donnie Yen go head to head, the whole movie was worth it from that. And then I was just got the bonus feature of the entire movie being awesome on top of that. You start getting some hints of the Bruce Lee element. They start teasing you with it, like, so you know it's coming at some point. But again, did we know? I don't remember if we were going to get a trilogy, or if we were just getting the first two. At one point, I want to say I thought, with all the stuff with the Grandmaster and Ip Man Legacy and all the other movies that came out around that, I want to say that's when they decided they weren't going to do the third movie. But maybe that was all with the fourth movie. I don't remember. But needless to say, in 2015, we did get Ip Man 3. And what I like about it is it goes through different times of his life. So the first one, he's already the master. He's very humble. He deals with some new hooligans that come into town that are roughing up the other schools, and so he's kind of fighting for the honor of martial arts. In the second film, we go into the war. I believe that's in the second one. He goes into the war. They're all running together now. That just recently, yeah, because now he's they've gone into the war. They've lost lost all their. I believe that's when they lost. Or is that the third one? Hold on. Now I'm having a brain fart. I believe it's the war is the second one, or maybe that's in the later half of the first one. It's the later half of the first one. But yeah, so anyway, so in the second one, he starts dealing with the masters that don't want him thing, and the rival masters and whatnot. And that's when you get Sammo Hung. But then you also have like British rule that they're dealing with, and fights and stuff. But again, it's tons of great fights. Another great movie. And then we moved into the third one. So Ip Man 3 was the first one in the franchise, because the first two were released in the States, but I never saw. I don't know if they got a theatrical run, but I know that I didn't see them until they hit like Blu-ray DVD type, and I love them. So I got an opportunity. They did a press screening for Ip Man 3, so I got to actually see it on the big screen. I was excited. Me and the wife went. She loved it. And here's the thing: is at the time, I remember a lot of people not or not talking about. I don't know if it got bad reviews or not. I didn't give it a bad review. But I know a lot of people talked about how they thought Ip Man 3 was a little weaker than the first two. And I think that comes from the semblance of the fighting aspect, although I disagree with it, because here's the thing, is these movies are playing out as one story. The third one started really touching base more about his relationship with his wife and his child, his family. And with the first movie, you see a little bit of that where he's more focused on his kung fu and his teachings and his honor. And he's not a jerk, but he's not fully giving the attention to his son like he should. And it makes his wife mad. And you can tell she still rules the roost, but she's trying to let him do her thing. And then the second one, they've gone through the poverty and all this stuff, and they're rebuilding their lives, and they're trying to be together, but it's still a little bit of the same thing. The third one, you start dealing with mortality, with his wife becoming sick, and him trying to realize what's important. And so, there's like a real estate developer, I think, or something that comes through, and I think that's what it is. And in the midst of that, you also meet Master Z. Is it Zhang? Zhang, what's he go by now in his name? It's Jin Zhang, but I forgot. Hold on. It's another Wing Chun master. But what's his name? Max Zhang is what he goes by. So I think it's Jin Zhang, but I think he goes by Max Zhang in America. Or maybe that's just his movie name now. But he's another Wing Chun master, and he shows up in town. They meet because of some situations at school between their children. They kind of become friends, but then there's a lot of jealousy factor of something that occurs, and so Max Zhang's character wants to prove that he's real Wing Chun and that Dunyan's not fully real. Ip Man's not real Wing Chun because he's adjusted things. So they have their own little square off. But you're dealing with first element, you deal with the developers and the kidnappings and them fighting together and all these big elaborate fights and things that happen. Then you deal with the kung fu side of this new Wing Chun master who is trying to establish himself so he can open his own school and get himself out of poverty, because he's struggling to make ends meet for his own child, and he's on a good journey. So it's not a good guy, bad guy situation here. It's more about this guy wants to be able to set himself and get honor as an instructor, and this guy's in his way because everyone only looks at as Ip Man as the main Ip Man as the premier Wing Chun, and so they have their own conflict. But what is really in the middle of both of their conflict that keeps this conflict from ending is his wife. And his wife is sick, and he's dealing with that, and he starts spending his time with her. And it's a really heartfelt and heartbreaking story because he's realizing what he's losing and what he's missed out on. And it, to me, where some people were like, "Oh, it was so slow and boring," I felt it was so much more powerful because it brought the three movies together, and it started making you realize that what she's been going through, having to watch him fight, having to take care of the kids, having to take care of him if he comes home beat up, or what's going up and down in their lives and whatnot. So it was interesting. And once again, it ends in an area that is finite. You think that's it. She passes away, and they even do a whole new thing with, like, at the end of, I believe it was 2, Bruce Lee shows up as a little boy, and he tells him he's kind of cocky. He does this thing. He doesn't come back when he's older. He comes back in Ip Man 3, and he's cocky. He throws some kicks. He does different stuff, and then he leaves. He walks him out, and he leaves, and then it becomes this whole thing of him still not teaching him. And then you find out later, I believe in 4. Yeah, I think it was 4, when you find out what really was going on in that scenario, and it was totally misunderstood by Bruce. So anyway, before we get into 4, which will be next, Max Zhang, who's kind of become a superstar in his own right now, they even gave him, as part of the Ip Man Legacy now franchise, you have the original trilogy, and then you have the spin-off film of Master Z. It's called Master Z Ip Man Legacy, and it is about him, what happened to his character after his fight with Ip Man in part 3. Ip Man's not in this movie, in this new movie, but it's not about him. It's just about Master Z and Master Zhang, Max Zhang, and him trying to find his own way and what he's going to do. And it's got Dave Bautista in it, Michelle Yeoh, or Yo, however you say it. I always get it wrong. Tony Jaa makes a special appearance in some couple fights. I love this movie. I thought it had some great action. It's a great story. It's an interesting little turnoff because it's its own story, but still connected because you know the character, which in turn, tons of great fights, a great evolution of doing something else. If they wanted to make movies about this guy, they could keep making them, and hopefully they will, and doing different things since this other franchise is now ending. So this is also from Logo USA because they keep putting out the awesome stuff. So now here we are, 2019. We haven't had an Ip Man movie since, what did I tell you, 2015. It's been 4 years since a regular Ip Man movie. This movie came out earlier this year, I believe. I think it was 2019. Let's double check. It doesn't say that I see, but I'm also a dunderhead, so it doesn't matter. I believe this movie came out this year as well. But we're now to the final chapter of the Ip Man franchise legacy series, whatever you want to call it. Ip Man 4, the finale, aptly titled. Now we've jumped ahead a little bit. We now are dealing with an Ip Man who is, he's a widower. His wife has passed away. Spoiler. It's history, so I mean, it's not like you can't look it up. His son's now a teenager, so he's dealing with some of that stuff. Now, where this movie differs a lot from the last films is this movie most of it takes place in the U.S., where the other ones were all in China, Asia, and stuff. This one takes place in the U.S. He comes to America. He's trying to find a school for his son to attend to America because he has some issues in China, and here we get to spend a little more time with Bruce Lee again. We get to see some recreations of the Ed Parker tournament that Bruce Lee did a demo at, where he showed the 1-inch punch and some sparring and things like this, and it was discovered before he started doing some of his acting. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But make no mistake, it's still an Ip Man movie, and he gets involved with somebody else. Another situation. It deals with racism. It deals with stuff at the time. And once again, he has to meet up with, I guess, like the U.S. Organization of Chinese that dictate who teaches what. It's very reminiscent of, if you saw Dragon, the Bruce Lee story with Jason Scott Lee, which is another one I love. I know it's not a perfect Bruce Lee movie. I know it's flawed, but there's an element of how they didn't want him teaching the Americans. The Guaylo, didn't Round Eye, whatever you want to call him. He didn't want them teaching it. And so he had to fight for it. And we all know there's a lot of mystery surrounding that fight between him and that guy. Nobody really knows who won, but we've all heard the stories. Even if somebody can tell you now, but I don't know if we really know. Anyway, this one, Donnie Yen has to go meet with a group. And it's the same idea. They're saying, look, Bruce Lee is causing problems. He's wanting to teach the Americans. And so now he's kind of in trouble by proxy, because he's his instructor and he doesn't disagree with them studying their culture, because he wants everybody to get along. He wants everybody to be in peace. He wants everybody to be together. He wants to see everybody see the beauty of their culture. And so you're dealing with that. You're dealing with, like I said, the time period, the 60s or 50s, 60s time period. You're dealing with the racism of people not wanting the Chinese there. You've got a military side of it this time, where it's the U.S. military. I believe it's the Army. And one of their people in the Army is Chinese, and they have Japanese karate is being taught as part of their combat training. And there's a guy, I think it's Chris Collins, I think is his name. Let's double check. I want to make sure, or it's Chad. I want to make sure he was getting there because he's really good in the movie, and I want to make sure I give him the proper credit. Come on, thing's not moving now like I wanted it to. Where's it at? I just thought I saw him. Hold on, stupid thing. Scroll down, stupid. Yeah, Chris Collins is his name. He's really good. He's the karate instructor for the military. But now, the biggest thing that sold me. So in Ip Man 3, you also, I forgot to even mention, the big property developer, whatever we're dealing with, is Mike Tyson. So you have Sammo Hung versus Donnie Yen in Ip Man 2. Ip Man 3, you got Mike Tyson versus Donnie Yen and Max Zhang versus Donnie Yen. So you got a lot of great fights going on. You go into Master Z, you got Max Zhang versus Batista, Max Zhang versus Tony Jaa. So we keep Max Zhang versus Michelle Yeoh. You're getting all the great elements that we want. Now we bump into this new one, and they bring in Boyka himself. I was about to say Boyega, but that's the guy from Star Wars. Boyka himself Scott Adkins, huge fan. Ninja 1 and 2, the Undisputed franchise with Boyka. He did the Universal Soldier movie. He's done, I mean, so many things, and I love the guy. He's such a great, nice guy. But bring him in. He's like a drill sergeant in the military. He likes things the way they are. He likes the karate. He doesn't want them to bring in this Chinese soldier wants to bring in Wing Chun is to not even to take over. He just wants to add it. He thinks it'd be a good element. So now you've got all these elements, and through a series of things, there's fights between everybody, including, yes, you guessed it, Donnie Yen versus Scott Adkins, one of my most anticipated fights ever when I found out it was going to happen, and it does not disappoint. So about the movie itself, the new one. My review is on HollywoodMatrimony.com. You can check it out there, the official review. But I'll say this. I love the movie. It is yet another stepping stone to this franchise. I never think Americans in these Asian productions ever work. And I think it's the dubs or the way they cut it or the way they perform sometimes. They just always seem off. It's like anytime you add an American or a British person in any Asian film, it just seems weird. And I don't know why, because I think everybody in the movie is great, except for Scott Adkins is great in the movie. Don't get me wrong. He's great. He brings it's kind of side you don't usually see from him. You won't like the guy. He's a jerk. He's racist. He's just and it played to perfection. But the rest of the people around him, again, not talking about Chris Collins either, but just sub characters around him and the soldiers and the people, they just all felt off to me. But they're not important, so that's okay because the rest of the movie is awesome. Great fights again. You're getting to deal with some more emotional stuff. Now Ip Man is dealing with not only stuff for his kid, he's dealing with this military thing. He's dealing with the military thing. He's dealing with the racism stuff. He's now dealing with his own personal mortality. He's dealing with so many elements of Bruce Lee's fame, and it takes it a whole nother journey that this movie plays out a perfect ending to the franchise. You got great fights. You got a great story. It plays off. You get one of the old masters that's in, I think he's in 2 and 3. I don't remember, but he shows back up. You get to see him. He's like, oh, old friend kind of thing. But it really tags the show, the series, and it creates a finale that there's no way to make another one. That's it. We're done. But we can still go back to this, digging this well, and even some of the other masters if they wanted to. Even Scott Adkins' character if you wanted to, I guess. But it's so good. I loved it. It just once again put a nail in the coffin of this franchise to me, which is the greatest martial arts franchise that has ever been produced as a whole. And each one adds to the previous one. So where a lot of times you take the first one and you grow from there, I think this franchise, each film makes the previous film better because it's further cementing the story of this guy from beginning to end, book closed. You don't need another one. You don't want another one. You have these to revisit, and they're great. Donnie Yen is amazing in it, but he's a different version of Ip Man, which I like because he's older. He's been through some things. He's seen some things, and I think now he plays it in a great way that makes you feel what he's going through at this point, just like he did when he was emotionally dealing with his wife stuff. So Ip Man 4, the finale, is awesome. It's a great entry to this franchise. If you don't like it, you probably don't like the other ones because they're all kind of the same on some level, and I think it's one you should check out. It is going to hit theaters this Christmas. So if you go to my website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, we got a little special thing for you. Not only is the review there for Ip Man for the finale, you can read my review, see what I thought in a little more depth. We're also doing a contest of sorts. We're promoting it, but I'm not per se hosting it. But I am at the same time. If you go to the website, either click on contest or scroll down to live coverage. There's a big picture of Donnie Yen with a flaming Wing Chun dummy. And you click on that image, or like I said, go through the contest, pick Ip Man 4 prize pack. Wellgo USA, I'm helping promote the film with them. I'm sure among other people. But they're doing a giveaway contest that includes an Ip Man trilogy, this one right here, but a steelbook edition. This is not the steelbook, but a steelbook edition of this trilogy with parts 1, 2, and 3. They're also throwing in an Amazon gift card for, I believe, like $50. And the coolest part, forget $50. The coolest part is they're giving away a Ip Man 4, I believe it's the Chinese poster, autographed by Donnie Yen himself. And I've seen this poster. It looks amazing. Just the poster design itself is cool. But the autograph looks cool because it's signed in Chinese. It's just, oh my God, it's such a great thing. And it's very, very, very simple to enter this. And you don't have to answer trivia questions. You don't do anything weird. If you go to my website and you look at the contest, I ask you to go like our page and our YouTube channel and things like this. But really what you have to do is go see the movie. That's first and foremost. Go see Ip Man 4 when it hits theaters on December 25th. Christmas Day. If you can't go Christmas Day, go somewhere by the weekend or somewhere. Just go see the movie in theaters. It deserves the support. It's an international film. They don't get the love they deserve a lot of times, and you need to see it. I'm planning to try to go see it in the theater myself. Even though I've already seen it, I'm gonna go see it again in the theater to help support its cause. But once you see the movie, or when you go to the movie with yourself, with your group, if you're a martial arts instructor, try to take some students. Get students together, take them out there. See the movie, take a picture of yourselves next to the poster for the movie, or take a picture of your ticket stubs and tweet them out. Tweet out to @HollywoodMatter, MATR, as well as hashtag #IpManLegacy, hashtag WellGoUSA, or @WellGoUSA, and make sure they see it. And they're going to be drawing people. I don't know how many they're giving away, but that's all you got to do. You go see the movie, then you tweet it out, and you get a chance to win. But if you go to my website, it tells you. My website also has a link to click on. It tells you what theaters it's going to be playing at in your hometown. So please, please, please go check it out. It's a great movie. Go support it. These big movies like Avengers and Star Wars and stuff, I love them. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I love the Star Wars because I got my own armor over here. But these movies like Ip Man and things like this, they need support because they don't get the big push in the big theaters and 30,000 million screens all of the time. They get a couple of screens here and there, and they need the push. You want to keep seeing movies like this. You want to see these movies hit theaters more often. You got to check it out. All right. As for my martial arts side, it has done nothing but keep inspiring me to train harder. These movies came out. I was already an instructor at this point, but I watched them. I tear them apart. I looked at them. It's made me read up more on Wing Chun. It's made me redo away a certain techniques that I've used and things like this and adjust it. So they're influential through martial arts as well. If you have a martial arts school and you want an Ip Man 4 poster, I have a bunch of mini posters that I'm giving out. And all I ask you to do is hang it in the window of your school to promote the movie. Shoot me a picture of it so I can think, or post it on the Twitter that show you're posting it. And the posters are free. It doesn't cost you a thing. You don't even have to see the movie to get the regular poster, only to win the prize, but you see the movie anyway. If you have the poster, you're going to be like, I really want to see this movie. So all you got to do, if you want a poster, shoot me a message. Go to our website, shoot me an email, shoot me a message here on the YouTube channel, or go to our Facebook page or our Twitter page. Just shoot me a message, say, hey, I really want to post for my school or some for my students. I have a few of them, and I get your address, and I'll mail them out to you. That's it. It doesn't cost, it's no money. It doesn't cost you nothing. Be nice. Do things for other people, right? All right. That's all of me today. I love, love, love. I could go on and on about Ip Man franchise, but I try to keep this show short so you don't have to look at my ugly mug for too long. Please don't forget to head over to our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, where we also have contests for win a copy of The Gallows Act 2, digital copies of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and I still have a few Fandango tickets for The Rise of Skywalker, good until March 20th. So if you want to win any of that, go to our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Also to our Twitter, @HollywoodMatter, MATR, because it won't let us type a full bunch of stuff. Facebook page, Hollywood Matrimony. Instagram, Hollywood Matrimony. And be sure to be here tomorrow for an all-new episode of TV Tuesdays. We don't know what time we're doing this show yet because it is Christmas Eve. So it'll be sometime in the day, maybe in the evening. I don't know yet. Then we'll be back here on Sunday for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We'll be right here on this exclusive YouTube channel, as well as over on our live feed on our Facebook page. But please, please, please check us out. If you're watching here on our YouTube channel for this show, because it's the only place you can see it, please hit the subscribe button below, or a little orb if it pops up and shows up. If you check out over here, I'll try to make sure to put the Ip Man 4 trailer up there for your viewing pleasure. I greatly appreciate you. And as always, keep your hands up. Be nice to one to each other. I'll see you next time. And now I got to hit this button very awkwardly after I already said goodbye.